The Yankees lose a really, really, really tough series to the Tampa Bay Rays. They had it, and it slipped away. And I partially lied last episode when I said that, that I would take winning 1 out of 3. I believe I also acknowledged right after that statement that, of course, if you lose a really tough game, or 2 in this case, that I might feel differently, and that's exactly what happened. And this was a series that the Yankees could have theoretically swept the Rays, but all 3 games were close. And so the Yankees were a lot more competitive than I imagined they would be in this series. But I really think that this is, Gerrit Cole, that's the story. I mean, and obviously, I'm recording this today right after Gerrit Cole imploded, but the Yankees had a 6-0 lead in the 5th. Gerrit Cole ends up giving up 6 runs, 5 earned, and he doesn't even get an out in the 6th. He ends up going 5+ innings, gets 15 outs in all, and that just can't happen. Gerrit Cole has arguably been the best pitcher in baseball up until this point, but that's just, you can't have that. Simply can't have that. And I don't blame Aaron Boone at all. You're going to leave Cole in there. And the Yankees were a little bit short in the pen today as well, so he really wanted to push him through. But, Cole hadn't allowed a home run all year, and that was his bugaboo last year. Today he allows 2, and the big one is a 3-run homer to Christian Bethancourt. And, the Yankees, it was a good win yesterday, a win that was unexpected, but they won it. And the first game sucked. The first game was a game the Yankees certainly could have had. We're going to, dissect each game. And, certain series you don't really talk about sort of the details of it. This one I feel like we'll probably break down a little bit more just because these games were close. And look, the Yankees aren't far off from the Rays, and let's keep in mind as well, the Yankees are completely beat up. Aaron Judge, it sounds like he will be back Tuesday, which is good news. Hopefully, not only does he come back, but hopefully he stays healthy. I want him to be careful about this. So hopefully it's something that the caution, the overabundance of caution comes in the fact that he had this IL stint in the first place. And so when he's back, it's not a forced job. Hopefully he's fine. Harrison Bader returning really has been a great thing for the Yankees. He looks like he did in the playoffs last year. He had a really strong series and, hit a couple of home runs. He was a double shy of the cycle today, but still, you come out of this, and this was almost another example of the Yankees, losing the first game of the series, which they've done regularly, and then coming back to still win the series. Remember that record where in games where they have a chance to lose a series, they win? Well, they did in Game 2, and they almost should have done it in Game 3, and they did not. And so the Yankees continue to hover around 500. They're a game over 500. A win in that third game would have put them 3 over, which would have been nice, but this is what it is. So let's jump into these games, which is not fun. I mean, they did win a game. They didn't get swept. And again, the expectations, if you had told me going in, they take 1 out of 3, I would have been okay with it. But game 1, you got Johnny Brito versus Yanni Chirinos from the Rays. And Johnny Brito, he doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence. He goes 4 innings as of 4 runs. I think, when Severino comes back, which sounds like it should be soon, who is taken out of the rotation? It's either Schmidt or Brito. And I guess, I don't even know. It's a bad situation. I think that Schmidt probably can be a bit of a weapon out of the pen. And so for that, I might just leave Brito in, but I'll say this, he should not be in the situation he's in. It was a nice story early, but he is not cut out to be in a starting rotation in the major leagues. He's just not. There isn't enough strikeout stuff for Brito. He has that nice changeup, but didn't like what I saw. And for the Yankees, this was a very surprising comeback. They were down 4-0 in this game and had a 4-run 6th inning. But we'll talk about that. I'm not going to get into lineups, as I've said, with so many players out. There's been some consistencies, but with the lineup, it's, against righties, you're going to see Calhoun, you're going to see Bowers, who really fucking struggled this series offensively and more so defensively. And against lefties, you're more likely to see kind of Falefa and Hicks. That's basically what it is. Now, Oswald Peraza was not placed on the IL, but we did not see him all series. So if you remember, he got hurt at the end of the Cleveland series, and Peraza, not unexpectedly, was still hurt. But I guess it's a good sign that he wasn't placed on the IL, so hopefully we'll see him back in there soon. But for the Yanks, they get off to a rough start in this one. And first inning, Randy Arozarena, who is for Yankee fans, we remember what Arozarena did back in the 2020 playoffs. And he was he was flexing a bit. And, there ended up being some situations where Arozarena got hit by a pitch twice. And I'm not sure if it was intentional. He was upset. He was hit on the elbow guard. It wasn't like they went up and in on him. But nothing really manifested itself the rest of the series. Because Yankees and Rays, they've had some battles before, and benches clearing type situation. That didn't happen here. But Arozarena homers in the first. Then in the second, it is a sac fly for Jose Siri, gives the Rays a 2-0 lead. Then in the third, Yandy Diaz homers, gives the Rays a 3-0 lead. So it never got any easier for Brito. And then eventually in that inning, you get a RBI ground out by Harold Ramirez, who beats out a double play that makes it 4-0. Brito at the end does pitch a scoreless fourth, but that would be all for him. In the fifth, the bullpen does a really nice job the rest of the way. And the Yankee bullpen has mostly done a good job, considering the fact that there's a lot of guys that are out, right? Tommy Kahnle, we have not seen yet this year. He should be back by end of May, I'm thinking. Of course, Scott Efros, who we knew at the end of last season that he was going to be out for the year. And Lou Trevino, Tommy John surgery, Jonathan Loaisiga out until August or September. They're beat up, but yet the bullpen is still doing a really nice job. So in the fifth, Albert Abreu hits Arozarena, which leads to Kevin Cash getting ejected. Arozarena was upset, but, cooler heads prevailed. Nothing crazy happened. Then in the sixth, the Yankees get a rally going. With one out, Anthony Rizzo singles. Then Gleyber double. It's an RBI double for Gleyber. Makes it 4-1. Then LeMahieu walks. Then they bring in the lefty Garrett Clevenger. Now, unfortunately for Clevenger, he would get hurt, and it sounds like he'll go on the IL, Clevenger, for the Rays. He got hurt at the end of the third game of the series. But you get a first and second spot with 2 out for Harrison Bader, and he crushes a 3-run homer to tie it up. That was unexpected. The Yankees were down 4-0, and they tied up 4-4. Bader hits his first homer of the season, and we're all tied at 4. We go to the sixth, and Ian Hamilton comes on to replace Abreu after Abreu gotten out that inning. Hamilton strikes out Walls, and Mejia grounds out. Then Kevin Kelly comes on for the Rays in the seventh. They almost get a 2-out rally. Volpe singles, then still second, and actually goes to third on a throwing error by Mejia. But then Anthony Rizzo strikes out. And so for Anthony Rizzo, who is, I think most Yankee fans would agree, one of the more reliable players on this team, with 2 outs runners in scoring position, he has been absolutely horrible. The stats are somewhere around 0 for 15 with about 8 or so strikeouts, somewhere in that range, give or take, on the at-bats and the strikeouts, but just simply horrendous. And we need, the Yankees need Rizzo right now. And I'm sure it's tougher for him without Judge and Stanton. It's not as easy for him, but still, it's not as if Rizzo's having a bad year by any means, but those stats are just eye-popping. That is not good, and that wouldn't be the first time that he would mess up in a spot like that. Bottom of the seventh, Jimmy Cordero comes on. And for Cordero, in a depth role in the pen, it's fine. And his numbers are good, but I don't trust Cordero. There's just something about him where, and the walks have killed him a bit, and that happened in the first game and the third game. So let's talk about Cordero, who, again, as a fifth or sixth man out of the pen, totally fine. And that's kind of, in a way, that's kind of what he is now. But he's been forced into some big spots, and it just hasn't worked out. It's not like he's gotten, beaten up, but the walks, and he doesn't really have, it's crazy, too. I looked at his stats. He doesn't have that many walks, but it just seems like, I guess what I'll say is he doesn't seem like he's clutch. So Siri walks, then there's a ground out, which leads to run around first, 1 out, and then It is a so they actually did double. Okay, yeah, I don't even know. The official scoring on here makes no sense, but Wander Franco gets a double. It should not have been ruled a double. They gave Jake Bauers, I guess, an error allowing Diaz to score, I guess was the ruling. Jake Bauers absolutely fucks this up in left field. The former Ray takes a bad route to it, drops the ball, then bobbles it. And there was a play at the plate. They originally called Yandy Diaz out at the plate, but Trevino did not get him in time. He was safe. Jake Bauers is just absolutely awful. So look, Cordero deserves blame, right? The leadoff walk to Jose Siri, that can on 5 pitches cannot happen. But this was a play. I don't know how they ruled this a double. This is a flat error by Jake Bauers. This should have never happened. And so, what should have still been 4-4 becomes 5-4 Rays. It's just the slimmest of margins. And we'll talk about Game 3 as well, to why the Yankees lose to the Rays. It's little things. The Yankees gave this game away, and Bauers is a culprit. And so then Michael King comes on. Michael King comes on when you're losing. That hurts. And that's the thing about this. This is where Boone, I can't blame Boone for anything much in Game 3. Game 1, though, one of two things. Either leave Ian Hamilton in or just bring Michael King in to start the 7th. Why even go Cordero? If you're going to bring King in anyway when you're already losing and he's warming up, just start King in the 7th inning. Don't go Cordero. Either, like I said, stick with Hamilton or go with King. So then King comes on and, of course, fly-out strikeout. But the damage is already done. They're down 5-4. We go to the top of the 8th. You get a 1-out single by LeMahieu. The lefty Poche comes on. They pinch it. They got Sugar for Calhoun, and it works. He gets a double. Now, small thing, I might have pinch ran for LeMahieu. I might have actually gone with Hicks as a pinch runner. I don't know if it would have mattered. Higgy doubles into a weird sort of, I guess it was near the Rays bullpen, and ultimately Hicks probably would have been held up, but it was something I thought of that didn't get brought up. So now it's 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, and unfortunately Bader pops out, and I can't kill Bader, right? He's been really, really great since he's been back, but unfortunately he doesn't get it done there. And then Kiner-Falefa pinch hits for Bauers, which is the right thing to do, but how sad is that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is being used as a pinch hitter? And I agree with it. Like, you had already you use Higgy as a pinch hitter. I think about how crazy that sounds. You pinch hit like Higgy for Willie Calhoun, which in and of itself is crazy, but that worked, and I agreed with that as well. But Kiner-Falefa with a nice at-bat with a terrible strikeout. He swings the ball 4, and so the Yankees had a chance to tie or take the lead there. They don't do it. In the 8th, King stays on, pitches a 1-2-3 8th, and then the 9th, Jason Adam, 2 out, Volpe single, and then Rizzo, he hits it hard, but right at the center fielder, Jose Siri, and the Yankees, the comeback, they tie it up, but then Bauers with the fielding gaff in the 7th, they lose it 5-4. So that one stung, but, they were losing the whole time. It was more of a missed opportunity than anything, but you move on, and it hurt, but nothing like today's game. That was the worst. But Game 2, the Yankees win Game 2. And that was a nice surprise. And again, the Yankees offense really didn't do a whole lot, but then it had a big 8th inning where they had a nice rally. Domingo Germán was on the mound for the Yankees. And for the Rays, it was Drew Rasmussen. And Rasmussen pitched really well for the Rays. And Germán did pitch well for the Yankees, but it was the first inning got into a little bit of trouble and that cost him. But Germán really doing a better job lately. Wasn't a dominant performance by him, but not bad. So in the first, it's a couple of singles to start out, Diaz and Franco. But then they almost get out of it. Unfortunately, though, Manny Margot gets a 2-run double. This was a play that kind of handcuffed DJ LeMahieu at 3rd. It was the right ruling. It was a double. It was hit hard. But LeMahieu, probably one that he might want to have. And where the margins are so slim with the Rays, you don't want to make any mistakes. But Margot gets the 2-run double, gives the Rays a 2-0 lead early. Then in the 2nd, in a rare opportunity, 1st and 2nd, 1 out, Kiner-Falefa pops out, Hicks grounds out. And in this game, Hicks was getting booed like crazy at the Trop by Yankee fans who, Yankee fans are usually there in numbers in Tampa. But, Hicks, it's just gotten so ugly. Again, things were, he did have an RBI double in the 3rd game, but for Hicks, it's a joke. And, Kiner-Falefa is not too far behind him, but I digress. Rasmussen's pitching well. Herman's settling in. And we go to the bottom of the fifth. Herman gets into some trouble. And it was somehow ruled a double by Bethancourt. Another terrible fielding play by Jake Bowers, this time in right field, where he should have caught it, didn't. These Rays official scores, I don't really know what they're looking at. But luckily, the Yankees come out of there all right, where Glaber fucks up on a potential double play. He drops the ball, so they only get one out. But luckily, Franco is caught stealing. Higashioka guns him out at second, and then Arozarena flies out. So what could have been Rays really taking a commanding lead, it stays 2-0, which was good. Then Wandy replaces Herman in the sixth, does a pretty good job. Although, actually, Yankees got lucky here. Harold Ramirez with one out and one on gets a single, and Bowers throws out Margot at third. So that was a nice job there. And then Marinaccio finishes out the sixth. So it's still 2-0. Then the Yankees get another chance. Jalen Beeks comes in, the lefty. Calhoun walks. Bader pinch hit single. Connor Falefa with what was basically as good as a bunt. He has a soft ground out. And so that makes it second and third, one out. And then Aaron Hicks strikes out. And that's where the boos were allowed. And then Higashioka strikes out. So again, Yankees not getting it done. They cannot quite get a hit or even a sac fly or anything. Then in the seventh, who is it? Marinaccio? Who finished it? Marinaccio. Marinaccio finishes the seventh, goes scoreless, and it's 2-0. Then the Yankees get a rally. And again, it started by Rizzo. So it seems like Rizzo is more of the guy that starts the rally as opposed to kind of getting that final blow at the end. Rizzo with one out, just as he did the night before, gets a single to start it out. They then bring in, and interestingly enough, this was against Jalen Beeks, who he faced again in Game 3 with lesser success. Kevin Kelly comes on, gives up a single to Gleyber Torres, then DJ LeMahieu, who has been really good runners in scoring position this year, gets an RBI double, gives the Yanks a 2-1 lead. And so for DJ, who in 2019 and 2020 was unbelievable runners in scoring position, then 21 and 22, he was not very good in that spot, but now he's back to being amazing in those situations. It makes it 2-1. Unfortunately, Willie Calhoun pops out, but then Harrison Bader with second and third, 2 outs, gets the big hit, just dunks it into right field, gets a 2-run single, gives the Yankees a 3-2 lead. That was really big. Then Connor Falefa doubles, and I think that Luis Rojas should have sent Bader home, especially with Hicks on deck. And there was a misplay as well. He doesn't, and then Hicks grounds out. So the lead stays 3-2. Then Clay Holmes comes on in the eighth. And look, the good thing here is Clay Holmes, it appears as if he's not the ninth inning guy anymore. Will he get some random save opportunities in the ninth? Maybe. But now it seems like Holmes, and I think that's a good thing. He comes on in the eighth, gives up a leadoff single to Arozarena. I'm thinking, here we go again. But he gets a big double play of Brandon Lau, and then Margot lines out to right. So the Yankees keep a 3-2 lead. Javi Guerra comes on in the ninth, the reliever who actually would be the opener in Game 3 for the Rays, gives up a leadoff walk to Higgy, but then he's able to get out of it. Ian Hamilton comes on in the ninth. Ian Hamilton, it's a great story. He's had some bad luck. I think he might have been involved in some type of motor accident, and I think he also got hit by a line drive. So Hamilton, who had mainly been in the White Sox organization, he's got good stuff, but he just hasn't really had any breaks. And so now he's gotten a chance with the Yankees and has done well and came in a big spot. And it wasn't really pretty. Jose Siri leads off with a deep fly ball to center, but Bader tracks it down. Then he strikes out Wells, and then you get a 2-out double by Luke Raley. But Paredes pinch hitting with a soft, easy fly out to Connor Falefa in right, and Hamilton gets his first career save. So that was a feel-good win for the Yankees. Didn't seem like it was going to happen. Again, the Yankees come back. It failed in the first game where they were unsuccessful. Here, they get it done. And that was a good job. So now you head to Game 3 feeling pretty good. Like, hey, Gerrit Cole's going to be on the mound. You got the pitching advantage you want. And even going into the game, it looked like the Yankees were going to be like, this is going to be easy. They're up 6-0. Not to be. And what rates as the toughest loss of the season to this point, and with the way that baseball goes, 162-game season, there will be plenty more tough losses to come. So the Yanks are up against Javi Guerra, and he was the opener, but then they knew that the lefty, Josh Fleming, would be the bulk guy. And Fleming really struggled big time against the Yankees. They got to him. The Yankees really did. And we have not seen the Yankees offense explode. So that's what hurts as well. You get they get 6 runs in the first 5 innings, and they still don't come out with the win. So, Cole's pitching well. Fleming comes on, pitches a scoreless second inning. Then in the third, the Yanks get going, and it is a home run for Anthony Rizzo. So lefty, Rizzo homers, and then after a single by LeMahieu, Bader homers again. So, and it was the start of a really good game for Harrison. Gives the Yankees a 3-0 lead. Then in the fourth, the Yankees score more. RBI double for Aaron Hicks. And for Hicks, as a righty, he's semi-competent. He really should consider just batting right-handed at this point, just giving up being a switch hitter. Like, honestly, he's absolutely just, I don't even know the words to describe it. It's so bad as a lefty. As a righty, like, there's at least a thought. And I've said this dating back to, years. Like, his right-handed stance just looks a lot more compact. Lefty, it doesn't look right. So he gets an RBI double, and then Glaber with 2 out gets an RBI double to knock Hicks in to give the Yankees a 5-0 lead. Mind you, that Glaber hit was the only hit with runners in scoring position today. The Yankees were 1 for 15 with runners in scoring position. So that's, as good as the offense did, that's terrible. That really is. Now, should it have ever come to that? No. That's not good. Yankees take a 5-0 lead. We go to the top of the 5th. Leadoff triple by Bader. After a ground out by Kiner-Falefa, who doesn't get the job done, Oswaldo Cabrera, who has struggled a lot lately. It was a much better day for Oswaldo. Hopefully he can, use this because really, honestly, he probably belongs in AAA. But for Cabrera, gets a sac fly, gives the Yankees a 6-0 lead. And then the 5th is the beginning of when it all comes undone for Gerrit Cole. With 1 out, Jose Siri homers to dead center. So that's the first homer allowed by Cole this season. And at the time, we're thinking, okay, that's fine. That was bound to happen at 6-1. No big deal. Then Diaz singles. And then Wander Franco. This is kind of an underratedly big play. Franco singles in the hole between first and second. Gleyber Torres makes a really nice play to stop it. He then tries to throw Diaz, being aggressive, tries to go to third. The error goes to Torres. Really, though, Oswaldo Cabrera should have, at the very least, kept that in front of him. And honestly, if he scoops it, he might actually be able to get Diaz out at third. But it goes by him, and so Diaz scores, and Franco moves to second on the play. So that was a very unfortunate circumstance. But Cole is able to strike out a Rosary and Lau. Okay, 6-2. Not any real reason for concern. We go to the bottom of the 6th, and this is where it gets totally fucked. Harold Ramirez doubles, then Isaac Paredes ground rule double. So at this point, Cole's getting tattooed. And then you have a big at-bat where he cannot put Manny Margot away, and Margot works an 8-pitch walk. And so now that leads you to Christian Bethancourt, 6-3 game, first and second no out. He's the tying run. And Cole's pitch count is now up at about the mid-90s. And you got to leave him in there. You just had to. To bring in Jimmy Cordero just isn't quite worth it. But unfortunately, Bethancourt, was it the first pitch? I think it might have been the first pitch. It was. First pitch, dead center, gone. And that's an absolute killer. Cole's out of the game, and it's 6-6. So it went from 6-9 to 6-6 very quickly. And then what does Jimmy Cordero do? He walks Jose Siri again and again on 5 pitches. You can't do that. Then there's a wild pitch. He moves to second. And then Yandy Diaz grounds out to Jimmy Cordero, and somehow Siri scores from second. Cordero needs to look Siri over at third. Siri just keeps running. And that's the aggressiveness of the Rays paying off. And so bad job by Cordero. The Rays take a 7-6 lead on that Diaz ground out. And now we move to the 7th. The Yankees do tied up in the 7th, though. Ryan Thompson, the righty, comes on to replace Fleming. Bader starts it out with a single. Jake Bauers pinch hits for Kiner-Falefa, and just an ugly at-bat by Jake Bauers. Terrible. Strikes out. Again, I want to see less of him, but the Yankees are in dire straits right now. Hopefully when Judge comes back, and as you know, I really don't like Aaron Hicks, but unfortunately, I don't think he's going anywhere right now. I think Bauers would be the logical guy that would kind of go, although let's see what Peraza's injury status is as well. Oswaldo Cabrera with a ground rule double. Makes it second and third, 1 out, and then Trevino with a nice at-bat. He falls behind in the count, but he is able to get an RBI ground out. Bader running on the play. Infield wasn't in. Yankees tied up 7-7. Then Hicks walks, leading to a Volpe unfortunate strikeout. So Anthony Volpe, not a great day for him. Not a great series for him. But again, he's a rookie. So you live with it. Clay Holmes comes out in the 7th, and it's high game. 7s are wild, 7-7 in the 7th. and does a nice job. 1, 2, 3. Great job by Clay Holmes. And again, him not in the ninth inning could prove well for him and for the team. Then let's jump to the bottom of the eighth. Wandy Peralta, really nice job as well. He goes 1, 2, 3. Colin Poche in the ninth, the lefty comes on. You get a situation where Oswaldo walks and steals second, and then Trevino lines out to center, and then Aaron Hicks slides out to right. So the score remains 7-7. Michael King comes on in the ninth, and it's good to see King. Is he going to pitch back-to-back days? Probably not likely, but he pitched on Friday. He comes on in the ninth. He does a nice job. He strikes out the side. But because he threw 24 pitches, it makes sense they didn't bring him back out for the 10th. We head to extra innings. The lefty Gerrit Clevenger comes on, and Volpe lines out to right, moves Hicks over to third. Good job. Gleyber Torres messes up, though, unfortunately. He grounds out to short, and then Hicks gets caught in a rundown, a long rundown, and he eventually is tagged out. It was a close play, but it looked like they ruled that he wasn't tagged out, but he was. Gleyber moves all the way to third, so it kind of ends up being no harm, no foul. I mean, it was. Gleyber needed to get the run in, but he doesn't. And so now it's runner on third, 2 out. Clevenger gets hurt in the play, so they bring on Jalen Beeks, which is something that the Rays did not want to do, and he strikes at Anthony Rizzo. And once that happens, I'm thinking, this game's probably done. You really needed to score there. It doesn't happen. We move to the bottom of the 10th. Albert Abreu comes on. Marinaccio was not available. Ian Hamilton was not available, so Abreu comes on. Ramirez flies out, so it's a promising start, but then Isaac Paredes, RBI single, knocks in Brandon Lau, and the Yankees lose a crusher, 8-7 in 10 innings. So the Yankees could have found themselves 8 games behind the Rays. Instead, they dropped to 10 behind. So this series, I really wanted to break it all down. You see that a lot in these Rays-Yankees series. So now the Yankees head home to take on Oakland and then the Rays again. Nestor Cortez had strep throat, so that's why he got pushed back. And that's why, so it's kind of funny. I almost forgot. It was almost seen as, all right, Garrett Cole's pitching versus the Rays. Because of that, Cole was able to move up to pitch Sunday, and we saw what happened. What should have been a great advantage and a great opportunity just doesn't work out. So it'll be J.P. Sears, the former Yankee who was involved in the Frankie Montas trade. He is 0-2 with a 5.06 ERA, but I like Sears from last year, and I still think he could be a decent pitcher. So it's a lefty matchup, Sears and Cortez. Game 2 will be Drew Rucinski versus Clark Schmidt. And, as bad as Schmidt is, Rucinski is not very good at all for Oakland. So hopefully the Yankees can maybe win that one, and Schmidt in a good matchup can perform well. And then it'll be Kyle Muller, the former Brave, the lefty. He's been struggling this year versus Johnny Brito, who has also struggled. So it's like, the pitching matchups, I guess, are somewhat close, but this is a series versus an 8-27 Oakland A's team. At bare minimum, you got to win 2 out of 3. And you know what? If I'm going to be greedy, I'd like a sweep. But again, that's tough to ask for. What's interesting is that the Yankees, there has been no sweeps in any of these Yankee series. Whether the Yankees have not been swept and the Yankees have not swept themselves. So that kind of is what leads you to an 18-17 record. They're just hovering around 500, and that's kind of what it's been. And then that leads you to a 4-game set where the Rays come to Yankee Stadium. I would have been feeling a lot better about that if the Yankees had won today. They didn't, and so hopefully the Yankees can take care of Oakland, and like I said, at least win at bare minimum 2 out of 3, and then hopefully they can get things done versus Tampa in a 4-game set, and we'll just see how things look then. But again, Yankees lose a tough series, a close series, a series that probably went a lot better than I thought it would, but unfortunately they fall short. Garrett Cole blows a 6-0 game, and the Yankees eventually lose in extra innings, and now they will head home to take on the Oakland A's.